Guys, welcome back to another video on the channel. So today I'm going to be doing one of my most requested videos, and that is looking at my complete sneaker collection at the start of 2023. So this is a video that you guys really wanted to see. I had lots of recommendations to do this, and I thought what better time to do it than at the start of 2023, brand new year, start of my channel, and it would be really interesting to then look back on in say 12 months, 6 months and see how the collection has changed and grown. So I'm going to be splitting this video up into a few different parts, starting off with the miscellaneous pairs, moving on to my New Balance collection, moving on to the Nike pairs, and then finally ending with the Jordan pairs in the collection. Before we get into the video, please don't forget to drop a like and a comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first section being the miscellaneous pairs, sort of the pairs that don't fit into the Nike or New Balance that dominates most of my collection. So I've got two pairs here to show you. Both of them I actually picked up via Instagram collaborations. These companies hit me up on Instagram and asked me to sort of do some content in return for a pair of the shoes. So the first pair up is these No Two Ways. This is Calix's brand. They hit me up recently to send over a pair of these. This is their new Flow colorway that just recently dropped. I actually really like this shoe. It gives me vibes of sort of like the new Joe Freshgoods 993 pack that just released, the Easter pack or whatever it was called. Yeah, I really like these. I've worn them around the house a little bit just to see if they fit, but I haven't worn them outside yet. This is a pair that I'm definitely looking forward to getting some more wear out of. I really love the colorway, and they're actually really comfortable from the few minutes that I've worn them for so far. Next up is another really cool pair of shoes. So these are from a company called X Vessel. They hit me up over on Instagram as well, asked me to pick out a pair of shoes to do some content. These are the ones that I went for, the GOP lows. I actually really like these as well. This sort of gives me a bit of like a Converse vibe, with the sort of the fraying, the really chunky sole. Yeah, I really like these. I haven't had a chance to wear them yet, but definitely a pair that I'm looking forward to getting some wear out of. Moving on next to probably my favorite brand at the moment, and that's New Balance. They've absolutely killed 2020 with some amazing collaborations, some amazing general releases, and just all around some quality shoes. I picked up around 5 or 6 pairs of New Balance this year, and I'm definitely looking forward to picking up some more in 2023. So the first pair in my collection is the pair of New Balance I've had for the longest, and that is the Levi's 990 V3s. These are a quality pair that I picked up around 2 years ago now. I actually picked them up from the Levi's app when they were half price over the Christmas break. With the retail being as high as it is on 990 V3s, these are an absolute steal for half price. I don't get as much wear out of them as I probably should do. A really cool pair in the collection, and ones that I'm really looking forward to wearing a lot more. Next up, we've probably got one of my most worn pairs of 2022, and that is the New Balance 992 Paperboy. So these are a pair that I really wanted when they first dropped in the Paperboy restaurant shop in Paris, but I was not going to pay the £900 resale for them. But when they came down in price with the re-release via End and other retailers, and they dropped to sort of like £200-300, I couldn't resist picking these up. I actually went to the Paperboy shop and restaurant in Paris this year. I took these shoes, took some fit pics outside. If you saw them over on my Instagram, I would highly recommend going there. It was a quality place. The food looked amazing. If you do, definitely recommend getting the Fanta, because that was absolutely incredible. Starting off with the Teddy Santis pairs in my collection, the first one I picked up is this grey, green and brown colorway on the 990 V3. This is the first one that I picked up, and definitely my most worn. I absolutely love this shoe. It's such an easy wear, just goes with everything, mad comfortable. Absolutely love the colorway. Teddy just absolutely killed the colors on this. I also managed to pick these up from a friend on Instagram for under retail, which just makes it even better. The next pair I picked up is the 990 V3 Sea Salts. These are another Teddy Santis pair, this time in an all white leather with some cream hits on the midsole. I love these as well. Such an easy wear again. I broke these out for Copenhagen when I went this year, and I just wore them the whole weekend. They're mad comfy, didn't hurt my feet at all. Just such a clean colorway. I was also lucky enough to pick these up off the New Balance website for retail, which is just something that doesn't happen in 2023, 2022 anymore. You just don't get to pick shoes up for retail anymore. So it's just amazing to be able to do that. Then finally, the last pair of Teddy Santis 990 V3s in my collection is the Moonbeams. These are the latest ones I picked up. I actually got these off Kith, and I got them for under retail on the Black Friday sale. These are £165 instead of their usual 200, 220 or whatever it is. I absolutely love the colorway on these. The creams, the whites, the blacks, everything just works so well together. Such an incredibly clean colorway. I haven't had the chance to wear these too much yet because I only just picked them up, but I can't wait to get more wear out of these this year. Now moving on to probably people's favorite New Balance silhouette at the moment, and one of the most popular, that's the 2002R. So I have 2 pairs of 2002Rs, both on the protection pack. Starting off with the first pair that I picked up, these are the white protection packs. And I know what you're thinking, those aren't white. And you'd be right, I actually custom dyed these using some RIT dye, some hot water. It didn't really turn out the way that I wanted it to be honest. I kind of ruined them by doing it, and I wish I'd kind of kept the original white colorway. If I was to do this again, I'd definitely try it on a new pair rather than one that I'd already worn, because as you can see from sort of the toe box and bits where they'd already picked up some dirt, the dye has actually attracted more to those areas and has turned it a lot darker. Purple is also just not a color that I wear that often, and one that's quite difficult to wear in all honesty, unless you just sort of go with an all black outfit and let the shoes do the talking. So these haven't got as much wear as they should have done. However, these ones have definitely got all the wear that they deserve. These are the 2002 hour protection pack, the grey colorway, and these are just an incredible pair of shoes. One of my favorite New Balances to release over the last few years, and I'm sure lots of people will agree. Just an amazing pair. New Balance absolutely killed it with these. I saw that New Balance released another colorway the other day that looks very similar to these, which I might actually pick up and see what sort of in hand what the differences look like. I think no matter what they do with the protection pack, the different silhouettes, the different colorways, these will always be my favorite and definitely the best for me. Moving on to the night pairs next, starting off with my Air Max collection. I only have one pair of 95s. These are these Anatomy of Airs I just picked up. If you watch my first video, you'll have seen me talking a lot more about these and how much I love them. So go ahead and check that out if you haven't already. I'll put a link to it up here. But yeah, these are an incredible pair of shoes, ridiculously comfy, really nice colorway, and I've worn these a bunch since I actually first picked them up. Like I said in that video, I was lucky enough to pick these up for half price on the Mr. Porter sale over Black Friday, and I think that's just an absolute steal for the £80 or whatever it was. Next up with the Air Max 1s, this is a 2-for-1. So these are two of the Patta Air Max 1 collabs that I have. The only two actually, the white and the orange. These are the only two in the pack that I really wanted to pick up. I do love the other colorways. The blue is really nice and definitely the black, and I'm very happy with these two. I don't think I need the other ones in my collection. These are both really wearable pairs, and just very happy to have them both in the collection. Next up is a pair that I definitely think earns a title of Grail status, and that is the Air Max 97 Sean Wotherspoon collab. These are one of my favorite shoes in my collection. I wanted these for so long, and I eventually found a pair used off an Instagram seller with no box, no OG everything, just the shoes, just because I wanted to throw them on feet to wear. The details on the way this shoe was designed are just amazing. I just absolutely love this shoe, and it's just such an iconic pair, and I think that most people would want to have a pair of these in their collection if they could. Unfortunately, I don't get as much wear out of them as I'd probably like to. Being the fact that they're made out of the corduroy material makes them that you literally can't wear these in the rain because it'll just ruin them. So they're basically a summer pair. So every year when summer comes around, they come out and I put them on feet for a few months, and then they go back away on the shelf, which is very sad, but I'm very happy to have them and be able to wear them for a few months of the year. The last pair of Air Maxes in my collection is the only pair of 90s that I have. Probably one of my most worn pairs of shoes, as you guys can see. These are absolutely battered. You can see the rips down the side, the staining of the toe box, the whole back is deformed. Yeah, these have got a lot of wear out of them. These are the Basement London collab, and just such an amazing pair of shoes. I love the removable ticks. I love what they did with this whole pack. Just an amazing pair of shoes, and definitely one that I think I got my money's worth out of. So moving on to the Air Force Ones in my collection, I have a few pairs now. I used to have a lot more, I think sort of north of 9-10 pairs at once. I ended up selling quite a lot of them because I just wasn't getting any wear out of them. The Air Force One is probably one of my favorite silhouettes of all time. It's timeless, it's iconic. The triple white Air Force One is arguably one of the best sneakers of all time. But yeah, just absolutely love them. The first pair of Air Force Ones in my collection is an old one. These are the 2006 British khaki Air Force One lows. I love the sort of the green khaki colorway of these on the white. It goes so well with the gum sole. These came out in 2006. I picked these up dead stock off Goat. I first saw them on a Mayor video where he was selling his collection to Urban Necessities, and I saw these on the website and just absolutely loved them. Lucky enough, I was able to find a pair of these in the UK 6.5, which is half a size down than I normally go. I've managed to make them work. You're not going to find this pair on StockX. I've yet to see another pair of these on the internet apart from the ones that I bought on Goat. So yeah, just a really cool pair. And everyone seems to ask where I got these from when I've ever posted them online. Moving on to the next pair of Air Force Ones in the collection, and these are the Acorn Air Force Ones. These are, funnily enough, my last sneakers when. I can't remember what came out on the same day as them, but it was some other hype shoe which I entered for. Didn't win, funnily enough, so I entered for these as well, and surprise, ended up winning because no one else probably entered for them. They're a cool pair of Air Force Ones, ones that I haven't really worn that much, to be honest. They're okay, probably don't really need them in the collection, but here we go. Another pair that I probably don't need in the collection is these undefeated Air Force Ones from the Air Force One versus Dunk pack. This is the blue and yellow colorway with sort of this snakeskin leather on the upper. They're okay, they're kind of cool. Don't wear them as much as I probably should do. They're quite a difficult pair to wear with the colorway of them. I do like the Dunk versus Air Force One pack. There were some really cool pairs in there. I did have the green Air Force Ones at one point as well. which I sold because they absolutely destroyed my feet. I think I had the purple and blue dunks at one point as well. I didn't wear them because I just didn't really like the colorway, to be honest. I think I won them off a raffle somewhere. But the final non-collaborative pair of Air Force Ones in my collection is these UNC ones. These are a stunning pair of shoes, an iconic colorway. Just so good. These are a perfect pair for summer. I tend to mainly wear them in the summer, although I haven't worn them as much as I should do recently. The quality on this pair is absolutely amazing as well. I think they came out in 2017, 2018. There was a black and white pair as well in the same pack. And the quality of these is just so much better than the Air Force Ones that I've had recently. I think I managed to pick these up off eBay for really cheap, like £100 or something, like around retail. But yeah, would definitely recommend this pair if you're on the lookout for a really good summer Air Force One. Moving on to the SBs in my collection. I actually only have 4 pairs of SBs. Definitely something that I want to work on in 2023, get some more SBs into the collection. Hopefully continue to release some amazing pairs. I've seen there's like the Doritos collab, and there's probably a few other ones that I'm forgetting off the top of my head. If not, I'll probably definitely go back and try and pick up some of the older pairs, although they are a lot more expensive at the moment. The first pair of SBs in my collection is the Sashiko Dunk Low. I love this pair. They're so cool, so different with the way that they've done sort of the colorway of like the Japanese denim with the different swoosh, the sort of details on the toe box. Yeah, these are really nice. Unfortunately, I don't wear these as much as I probably should do. They're very nice, but I guess blue and sort of the dark blue is a very difficult color to wear unless it's sort of like the summer, I guess. I actually saw people over on Instagram that bleach these, and I think that looks really cool, but definitely something I do not trust to do myself. If you guys are interested though, drop a comment below and maybe I'll do it if enough people want me to do that. Up next is a pair that I can say that I did successfully manage to customize, and that is the Paisley SB Dunk Low. These are one of my favorite SBs in the collection. I've worn these so much, I just love them. If you haven't seen these before, they usually have the Paisley sort of material you can see on the toe box here all over the shoe, but it comes away where this sort of cream suede is. It's like a tearaway material that you can cut off with like a Stanley knife. I did that myself back in the summer, and I think it looks way better with sort of the contrast of the two. Like I said, I got a lot of wear out of this pair, and definitely one that I love to have in the collection. The final pair of SB Dunk Lows in the collection is the 2005 Golf Dunk. These came in a blue and a brown colorway, which is the one that I have here. I think this pair is really interesting. I love the contrasting pink laces on them. I think it works really well with the colorway. They originally have like a lace cover that goes over the top. I'm not a big fan of that. They didn't come with my pair because unfortunately I bought these off Facebook for like £60, which you can't complain about really, because it's a steal for a pair that sort of brand new goes for like £500–600. The final SB in my collection, and the only SB Dunk High that I actually have, these are the Carpet Companies. These came out back in 2021 and were probably my second favorite release that year, behind the Almamania 3s. These are an incredibly slept on pair. People don't give them the credit that they deserve. They're just a fantastic collaboration. These actually also have a tearaway upper. The blue on the upper tears away to have this yellow underneath, which I think is meant to represent sort of the underflooring of like carpet. Back portion also tears away to reveal some writing. Yeah, just such a well thought out pair, really cool details on them, and one that I'm just really happy to have in the collection. Moving on to the main part of my collection, probably the silhouette that I have the most pairs of, and that is the standard Dunk Low. In total, I think I have around 8 pairs. Most of them are actually quite old as well. Starting off with the 2 pairs of Dunk IDs that I did, this is the first one. It's like a grey purple colorway with this gum sole. I initially really liked this when I first did it. I think it works really well with the gum sole, really clean colorway. It's a shame that the toe box on these, they did it so that you couldn't change the color. It was just all this, the front was the same. I initially probably planned to paint these white with like some Andrews paint or something, but I've just never got around to doing it. The quality on these Dunk by Use is definitely a lot better than the standard Dunks that have come out. So if you are thinking about getting a pair, I would highly recommend getting the Dunk by Use instead of just the standard colorway. The second pair of Dunk by Use that I did was this more clean colorway with sort of the white upper, the cream midsole and the grey swoosh. I think that these colors work really well together. I changed the laces in these to a cream pair because the laces that come with the Dunk by Use are absolutely awful. I would highly recommend changing them as fast as you can. Unfortunately, the pair that I put in are just far too long and they look really stupid, but I don't wear these very much either, so I don't really care at this point. I wore these to a festival and they got absolutely battered, as you can see, and I literally just haven't worn them since. Next up, the newest pair of Dunks in my collection, that is the Syracuse. These are the 2022 re-release pair that I was lucky enough to pick up from Size. They're quite nice in person. The quality on them is okay. Definitely better than some of the recent Dunks that have come out sort of post 2020, but definitely not as good as some of the older pairs that I have. This was a colorway that I always wanted when I first started seeing the Dunks getting popular, but I was not going to pay the sort of £500 resale that they were going for. These are a pair that probably won't be staying in the collection. I think these are the only dead stock pair that I actually have currently. I just don't really plan on wearing them, to be honest. Moving on to the other colorway from that pack, and that is the Kentuckys. These are the 2020 pair that came out, and they are just so much nicer. The quality on them is so much better. The sock liner is thicker, the leather's better. They actually crease properly, unlike the Dunks at the moment, which just the toe box goes to, like, I don't even know what you'd call it, just goes to bits really. These are just such a nice pair. I've worn these so much. I was lucky enough to pick these up actually secondhand for quite cheap, and they've just been on feet all the time. They're a really easy wear and a pair that's definitely going to stay in the collection for a long time. So before we get into some of the older Dunk pairs in my collection, the next pair is actually the size Dunks. These are actually quite a special pair to me. I know that people probably think why, because they're not that interesting, but these are actually the very first pair of shoes that I received for free in return for some promotion on my Instagram. Size hit me up and asked me if I'd promote the restock of these shoes that came out during the summer in return for a free pair. At the time, that was just absolutely amazing to me that a company like Size of their size. At the time, it was absolutely amazing to me that a company as big as Size would be interested in collaborating with myself over on my Instagram. I know they're not the most interesting or cool of pairs, but they're definitely a very sentimental pair that'll be staying in the collection. Now moving on to some of the older Dunk Lows in the collection. These are the Nike Dunk Low 2010 Reverse Curries. These are, again, just such an iconic Dunk colorway with the initial 1999 release, the Reverse Curries, the normal Curries. It's a colorway that has been done time and time again with Nike. I think I picked these up on eBay for quite a good price actually. Unfortunately, they absolutely ruin my feet whenever I wear them, so I actually haven't got that much wear out of them, but they're still such a sick pair that I just love having in the collection. Moving on to the next old pair of Dunks in my collection, and these from 2003, the Dusty Denim Lows. These are such a cool pair of shoes, being 20 years old this year and still completely wearable. I wore these in the summer, around Barcelona, did like 20k steps back-to-back days, and they've held up. There is a little bit of sole separation, I don't know if you can see on the camera, so I think I'll probably try not to wear these too much in the future, but just such a clean pair of shoes, really nice quality. I've only ever seen one other pair of these for sale on the internet. I think Sneaker Den had a pair, but yeah, just such a cool pair. And finally for the Dunk Lows, probably my favorite Dunk Low in the whole collection, these are the 2003 Celtic Dunk Lows. I mean, just look at these. They are so good. The colorway is amazing, such an iconic colorway. The quality on these is also amazing. I managed to pick these up off eBay for £150. These are also 20 years old, still completely wearable. I actually sold my pair of the Spartan Green Lows to be able to buy these because I just way prefer to have these in the collection. I actually missed out on picking up the highs as well for steal over on eBay for like 60 quid or something, but unfortunately I was too slow. If you are looking for old pairs of Dunks, I would highly recommend looking over on eBay though. Just put in your filters, used, sort from lowest price to highest price, and just scroll through until you find something that you're interested in. Moving on to the Dunk highs in the collection, I've got 4 pairs to show you. Starting off with the newest of the 4, the Spartan Green. These are probably one of my favorite pairs of Dunk highs in the collection. They're such an easy wear. They're an incredibly good colorway, and I think they've just aged amazingly well. These are one of the first pairs I bought when my sneaker collection started growing rapidly in size, and one that I've continued to wear over and over again. The green colorway paired with the cream laces just works so well in my opinion, and I just absolutely love putting these on feet. The next pair in the collection, the Panda Dunk High. Although this time we've got a 2010 version. These are a really nice pair. The quality on them is really good. The leather's really nice, although they're a little bit stiff and they're not that comfortable to wear on feet. I don't really wear these too much. I know that black and white is a really cool colorway, but I think at the moment with how the Panda Dunks are, they just end up looking far too much like that. The third pair of Dunk highs in my collection is the 2003 Cinders. These are a really cool pair that I think I've not really seen that much of online. I know that these are part of a pack called the Dirty Pack, and I think that there might have been an Air Max 1 that went with it as well. I've not seen a colorway like this much on a Dunk. The upper looks the way that it did back from 2003, but obviously the midsole has aged quite a lot. The final pair in my collection is the Obsidian Graphite Dunk High from 2002. These are such a nice pair of Dunks. The quality on them is incredible. They've got a really thick sock liner. The leather's really nice and supple, and they look incredible being 20 years old. Unfortunately, the laces completely frayed in the pair when I bought them, so I stuck these cream laces in instead. They're far too long and they look a bit stupid, but I don't wear this pair too much and they look okay when they're sort of just stored on the shelf. Before we get into the Jordans in the collection, I thought I'd go over some of the off-white pairs I have. Unfortunately, there's only a few pairs of the off-white Nikes I currently have. It's definitely something I'd like to buy a few more of in the future. It's amazing what Virgil did with some of these pairs, and I think the original 10 will go down as one of the best sneaker collaborations in history. The first pair that I have is one that I picked up in the summer, and these are the off-white Blazer lows. I know these were quite a controversial pair when they first came out. Lots of people said they were really cool. Lots of people absolutely hated the sort of fin on the back. I like them. They're different. They're something interesting. I'm not the biggest fan of the sort of spiky bit on the heel, but I think the rest of the shoe is really cool and interesting. If you're wondering why there's no laces or anything in them at the moment, that's because back in the summer, I actually took the heel off the other shoe because I wanted to sort of coffee dye them, take the heels off, put some different overlaces in and change them into sort of like a cooler, more interesting pair. Unfortunately, the back bit is stuck on so well with glue that I was literally having to use a screwdriver to try and prise it off, which unfortunately I ended up sticking straight into my hand, so I kind of gave up on that for the moment. If you guys would like to see me finish the other shoe and maybe coffee dye them and do some other bits with it, leave a comment down below and maybe I'll think about getting around to doing it at some point. The next pair of off-white sneakers in the collection is a very, very recent pickup actually. These only came in this week, and this is the off-white Dunk Low Lot 25. Apart from Lot 1 and Lot 50, I actually think that these are my favourite pair of the 50. I definitely much prefer the leather ones. I'm not a huge fan of the suede pairs, and I think that this colourway with sort of the green just works really well. I actually owned these back in February, which I ended up selling on because unfortunately they were UK 7.5 and they were just slightly too big for me and were rubbing my feet. But this week I was really lucky to be able to pick up a pair second-hand for an absolute steal in my true to size UK 7. The final pair of off-whites in my collection that isn't a Jordan, these are the off-white Air Force 1, the black colourway. These were the very first pair of hype sneakers that I bought myself back in 2018, I think. I've been wanting these for a very long time. I'd saved up, finally bought them, and now I've got them in the collection, and they've just been worn so much since. I've absolutely beat these into the ground, but with this pair you just really can't tell. They hold it really well with the sort of like ripstop material that they have on the front and on the upper. It just looks really good beat as well. Like I said, these are a really special pair to me, ones that will be staying in the collection for a very long time. To finish off the video, I'll take you through my Jordan collection, starting with the high slimmer and working our way down to probably everyone's favourite silhouette, the 1. So the first pair of Jordans in my collection is the Jordan 5 Off-White. I think that these are a massively underrated Off-White Nike collaboration. What Virgil did on this pair is just amazing. He took that classic 5 colorway, changed it up, put his spin on it, and just turned it into probably one of the best 5s that have come out in recent history. These are such an easy wear. They go with so much. They're really easy to beat. This sort of ripstop material that they have on them just wears really nicely. I talked a lot about these back in my first video, and like I said, I don't think I'm going to cut the circles out of them. I know that it's an interesting thing that some people have done, but personally I think they look a lot better with them just left in. Moving on to the 4s in my collection, and I only actually have 2 pairs of 4s, which funny enough are the same colorway. First of these being the 2012 military blue 4s, and the second being the 2006 military blue 4s. So as you guys can probably tell, the military blue is my favorite 4 colorway of all time. I think that it's just such an iconic colorway. It just works so well. I first picked these up from a good friend that gave me an absolute steal for these 2006 pair. They're kind of not really wearable anymore just because of how like crunchy the bottom is and all the plastic on it just keeps breaking. But I just think they're an amazing pair to have in the collection as like a display piece. Due to how unwearable they became, I then picked up the 2012 pair. These are completely wearable. I get a lot of wear out of these. Absolutely love them. I was tempted to pick up the military black 4s that came out this year, I think, but they've just been so overdone now. Like you literally see 10-15 pairs of them whenever you go out in public, and I think that they just don't hit the same way as the blues do. I was actually quite sad when then they released the blacks and it wasn't the blue, because although these are 2012 and still wearable, I think I'd like a pair that isn't like 10-11 years old to just beat on the daily. So far in the collection I only have 1 pair of Jordan 3s. They're really not a silhouette that I've ever looked at too much or worn or ever bought, but the Armani 3s changed that. These are such a clean colorway, and I think most people agree that these were the best shoe that came out in 2021. What they did with the colors and the details of this shoe is just incredible. They've just made such a good pair of 3s and really do deserve the hype that they get. I was lucky enough to pick these up before they shot up in price massively, so I didn't have to pay too much for them. Also, being such a small size, I was lucky enough that sort of I'm not part of that sort of UK 10 and above where the prices for these just get absolutely silly. This year I definitely want to pick up the white cement reimagined, and I think are going to be a very big contender for sneaker of the year. Moving on to the ones, we'll start off with the lows. First pair is the neutral grey lows. These are such a good beater pair. They've got so much wear out of them, as you can see from the toe box. Such a clean colorway, absolutely battered these last summer or the summer before. Should have actually picked up another pair at the same time, so I had one that looked a lot cleaner than these do. The next one in the collection is the Travis Phantom Low. These are a very recent pickup as well. They only came in this week. I've done a whole video separately talking about these, but again, really nice pair. Definitely love these laces in them. For me though, the price that I paid for these, I really don't think that they're worth it. For that price, you can pick up so many better pairs of shoes rather than just a triple black Travis Scott collab. If you haven't already, make sure to go over and watch the video where I did a complete review of these and even showed some outfits you could possibly wear with them. Moving on to the one highs, starting off with everyone's favorite pair of highs, the Jordan 1 Mocha. I was lucky enough also to pick up these a few weeks after they came out, and I didn't have to pay silly money for them before that they got really high. I know everyone likes to hate on these for being very basic, and they are, but they're a really clean colorway, and they're basic for a reason because they just go with so many things. They're probably my most worn pair of ones just because you can wear them with almost everything. You definitely need a lace swap in them though. The original black laces that they come with, in my opinion, just don't go very well, and I think they also came with white laces, which didn't really do it for me either. You definitely need to stick some form of cream or mocha laces in them to make them really pop. The next pair in the collection is my sneaker of the year, lots of other people's sneaker of the year, and a pair that I talked a lot about in my first video. That is the Jordan 1 High Lost and Found. I spoke a lot about these back in my first video, so I don't have much more to say than that. They deserve the sneaker of the year in my opinion. I think these or the Armani F4s were a good choice. I think lots of people couldn't tell the difference between the two. I love what they did with the reimagined. I love how they made the Chicago colorway accessible rather than having to pay the stupid resale for sort of the other pairs that came out in the past. Really nice pair. Very happy to have these in the collection. Finally, the last pair in my collection. You guys probably know what it is already because it's the one pair that's been missing so far. I still can't believe that I have these in the collection, and a pair that I'll probably never sell. The Union Jordan 1 Black Toe. This is just like sneaker perfection. What they did with this pair is just incredible. It just looks so good. It's aged so well. It's definitely a top 5 Jordan 1 in my opinion. I spoke about these a lot in my first video, so I won't talk too much about them in this one. Very lucky to be able to have these. Definitely my favorite of the two. The Royals are nice, but I don't think they hit in the same way that these do with sort of the classic black toe colorway. And that's the end of the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it wasn't too long and you managed to stay to the end and found it interesting. Please leave a like and a comment to help with the algorithm, and if you haven't already, drop a subscribe. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.